makes a lot of extreme sports content. And one day he decided...
Oh, well, it's messing up. That's great. I just want that background noise for you guys.
To do something a little different. He's gonna take his plane out and spread his friend's ashes over the mountains. But then, suddenly, things go wrong. Like, really wrong. Mid-flight, the plane's engine cuts out.
I'm over the mountains and I get out of engine out.
So Trevor has no choice. He's got to abandon the plane. But fortunately for him, he has a parachute on. And he makes it to the ground with only a few scratches.
Thank you, higher power, for watching over me.
So ultimately, he's safe. Oh, but this isn't over, because that is when the investigations start. Now, the FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board, they investigate every plane crash, big or small. So they look into this, and weirdly, they can't find any wreckage. Like, he crashed in the middle of nowhere, but it all seems to have disappeared. So they hit up Trevor, and they're like, hey, where did your plane go down exactly? But Trevor can't seem to remember. Now, the investigators, they're smart, and they know something's up, and they are not gonna let it go. But about a month later, Trevor cuts all his footage into one long YouTube video, and he uploads it, and it blows up. Now, you would think the internet would be super impressed with his near-death experience, but no. They immediately have a lot of questions like, why didn't he try to call for help? Why is he already wearing a parachute when the engine cuts? Was he really in all that much danger if he jumped for his life while holding a selfie stick? And most importantly, why does this traumatic event appear to be sponsored by Ridge Wallet? So the internet is not buying into his story, including myself. This happened 2 years ago. I made a TikTok about it. Now, to get to the bottom of all this, let's back up a little bit.
Yeah, we have to back
Trevor
up.
just crashed his plane, and he knows an investigation is coming. And he doesn't want them seeing that wreckage, because that's evidence. So he gets a helicopter, flies to the crash site, airlifts the wreckage over to a trailer attached to his truck, and he hauls it away and cuts it all into small pieces, and places it in a bunch of different dumpsters. And that is when investigators hit up Trevor, and they're like, hey, where did your plane go down exactly? But Trevor can't seem to remember. Now, investigators know this is bullshit, and so does everyone else, because he would have had to have been at that wreckage to collect all that footage from those cameras attached to his plane. He's literally at the wreckage site in his own YouTube video that he filmed. Now, eventually, Trevor sees that the evidence against him is overwhelming, and he finally admits that he crashed his plane on purpose to try and make a viral YouTube video, and then disposed of the plane wreckage to try and cover it up. So he took a plea deal. He'll probably spend about 2 years in prison, and they took his pilot license away. Also, the plane crashed in Los Padres National Forest in California, so shout out to California. So this YouTuber,
You're just gonna turn it down from now on because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing way too much. It's way too loud from even me. Not that. Oh, it was something I want to level up.
She hears a voice, and it's her
no, it wasn't
who I
you.
assume looks like this. And her god tells her she needs to sing
Not
on the
this,
plane,
okay.
but not like in her seat. He says she needs to get up and sing in the aisle where the whole plane can hear her. I guess he was very specific. So she gets up and goes to the aisle, and she's about to sing. And that's when she's spotted by this guy, flight attendant. And flight attendant's like, let me stop you right there. And he makes her go back to her seat. Oh, but Delulu isn't done.
I haven't done this in a while. I've gotten to the next status, so they're enjoying it. So while we're sitting here, I'm not
Dang, he said he not enjoying it.
Now remember who told
It's
her
gonna
to
be a
sing.
waste.
Ask me a question, yes or no. I'm your flight.
Cool.
Now eventually she agrees to be quiet.
That's a waste.
As soon as the flight attendant walks away,
singing on the low, you all in the back.
and then she quietly sings a whole song to a plane full of people who didn't ask. Oh, but it's not over. For some reason, she goes home and uploads the footage to Instagram, and this video blows up. And immediately people are just roasting her.
Probably not the best idea. Delta
Delta for apologizing.
Thank you for holding yourself accountable.
And all this is public, so then Delta feels like they have to respond. And in their press statement, there was no apology.
Yeah,
All they said was, for the safety of our customers and crew, it's always important to follow crew instructions, which makes it seem like they sided with flight attendant, because they probably did. Anyway, good luck to everyone involved. So this woman, let's call her Delulu. So Delulu is a singer, and the album she was on just got nominated for a Grammy. But one day, Delulu goes and she's on a flight, and the plane is still on the ground. So this is Sasha, and he's a successful guy. And he lives in this big old house, and he decides to rent out this part of it as a he's making extra money, so it's pretty much she wants to rent Sasha's guest house. And Sasha agrees, but they make this deal off of the building. And here's what it is. After about 7 months, Elizabeth decides she's not going to leave. She also decides
Of course.
oh, hell no. Airbnb can't really do anything because technically they didn't book that last month. So Sasha's like, okay, fine. Let's do it. Here's the thing. Elizabeth's got that apartment. She allegedly contacted the apartment. They come out and inspect Sasha's guest house and they find 2 photos. There's an unpermitted shower on the property, and Sasha didn't get seen in the guest house. So now, Sasha is serving an eviction notice and needs to prove that his guest house is up to code. Fine, we'll just make whatever repairs he needs to make. The guest house will be up to code.
Crazy.
But then Elizabeth, the carpet brain, she won't let him inside so he can make them. And now Sasha's convinced that he can't just let him slow down. It's very illegal to do it. So she's fed up. He files a lawsuit against her, basically saying if she's acting like a tenant, then she doesn't pay him rent like a tenant for all those free months she stayed. And if she can't pay the rent, then she needs to get the hell out. But then Elizabeth, big Harvard brain, files a countersuit against him, and she now wants $100,000 in relocation fees. Now at this point, the fight has gone on for 575 days. Poor Sasha, like I'm sure he's just losing his mind. Because come to find out, she allegedly basically did the same thing to a homeowner before in Oakland, right before she moved to Sasha's place. And she didn't move out of that Oakland place until they paid her a cash settlement. So Sasha has every reason to be worried. But by this point, the news has picked up on this, and they're starting to report on it. So then, one day, Sasha is in his house, literally doing an interview with the news about Elizabeth. And he sees some shady-looking guys walking on his property. So he confronts them, but they don't answer his questions. So then he calls the police. Police show up, and they discover these 3 men are actually movers helping Elizabeth move out. So I guess all the coverage and publicity got to her. Because one day, just without notice, she just decided to leave. And of course, the second her stuff was out, Sasha changes the locks. And as of now, their lawsuits are still currently ongoing. And all this happened in Brentwood, California, so shout out to California. So this is
He's
Sasha,
packing that
and he's
one
a
little
successful
one
guy.
over there. Wow.
And he lives in this
He's
big
not
old
having the
house,
time
and
to
he
do it.
decides to
You
rent out
do
this
it.
part of it as an Airbnb. People like the place. It's got. So this is Brianna. And
I like his
Brianna's living
videos.
her best life. She's married to a great guy. She has a job she loves, teaching high school. But there's a problem. One day, the worst happens. Brianna's husband, we'll call husband, he gets laid off, and her teaching salary can't support the 2 of them. But they get an idea. They decide they're going to start making spicy content, and they start an OnlyFans. And they don't just post racy pictures of Brianna. They make videos of the both of them. But she doesn't show her face, because she doesn't want to get recognized. So they do this
Why are you
OF on the
attacking
side
me?
for a couple of months.
I'm
and they make
recording a
nice chunk of
video.
change, like an extra
I
10
knew
grand
it.
a month.
It's
So
abuse.
it looks like
Help
their financial
me.
troubles
I'm
are
kidding now.
until one day they do a
The
collab.
dogs. Don't say children.
The dog.
Where they all four do
People get the wrong ideas. They're like, you're abusing your children. How dare you not feed them?
allegedly someone was watching that scene and they were like, hey, that's the person. But they weren't talking about Brianna because she doesn't show her face. They recognize who doesn't know her. For that, they were able to conclude that the woman he's with is Brianna. Now remember, Brianna's still in her school district, and soon after that collab, she went to class from class descendant, suddenly there's a knock on the classroom door. She goes to her school administrators, and they're like,
Oh,
the school gets a suspension while they decide
her husband.
at this point, she's probably going to get fired. And then someone posted a link to the OnlyFans in a Facebook group. That
Oh,
Facebook group was the Facebook group for Brianna's school. So now she's definitely and that's when she decided to say, all right, and resign.
To see this.
She realizes she can never go back to the classroom. But during all this, her story, it's on the local news, it's on the national news, it makes the front page
That's
of Reddit,
sad.
it's
Oof.
blowing up. So more people are going over to check out her account. And more people check it out, and more people check it out, and they keep checking it out. And eventually she has tens of thousands of
Okay, so
subscribers.
I'll just
all
we'll
who are
focus
paying to
everything
see her.
here.
And she just reported that in that 5 months, since all this blew up, she's made nearly $1 million. And she and her husband are no longer dating. They just found another teacher. What the hell? So this is crazy. Rihanna's living her best life. This TikTok, her name's Kat. And Catherine's living a great life. She's got her family. She just gave birth to twins. She's married to this guy we'll call Bob. She can't
Bob.
shake Bob is cheating with this guy. We'll just call him. When they all hang out, Bob's giving other people flowers. He greets other women. He like picks her up and spins her around. Other women make jokes about her and Bob ending up together. But Catherine, she trusts Bob, so she ignores him. Until one night, Bob is out driving around to DoorDash, because that's his gig, and he's delivering in a place we'll just call Home. So Catherine FaceTimes him to see him for dinner, and in the FaceTime, she recognizes buildings that are behind Bob, and those buildings are not in Hubbard. So she's like, "Why are you lying about where you're at, Bob?" Then she hears a woman's voice, off camera, but in Bob's car, and she's like,
That's my last
"Who are
one.
you
Like, I
with,
thought it was
Bob?"
already in
And
my last
Bob
one.
hangs up on her.
And as soon as he hangs up the phone, my heart is just like
Okay, so we're
beating
gonna
out of my chest.
So then she FaceTimes him again, and he denies it with anything. And Catherine's smart, so she's like,
Show me the passenger seat.
and Bob, who I guess is just thinking on his feet, he hangs up on her. So then Catherine calls her sister. The sister actually lives with other women. And Catherine is like, "Hey, is other woman at home right now?" The sister's like, "No, she left the house earlier with Bob." Oh, but it gets much worse. The other woman isn't just like a friend, co-worker of Catherine's. The other woman is Catherine's mom.
Oh! Ah!
So Catherine,
No!
she's still married to Catherine's dad.
Okay, of course.
Allegedly, then Bob and the mom plan on getting married.
Having my mother,
Ah!
my children leave my step.
That's fine. In case you're wondering, Bob and the mom are still together. Eventually, Bob and the mom and Junior. Mom was falling back to her. Okay, allegedly went with her back.
Aw.
For all this, Catherine says she's no longer dating. But this TikTok.
That's a lot. Of course, you know, it's on the casual. Well, we know they finish this. Unsuspecting people in the park and sucker punch them. So they try it on this guy, and they run up to him, and now obviously I Oh my
can't show you this,
gosh.
but I can show
They
you
really
how the guy
run up on his
reacted.
man.
Now, if you pause the video and zoom in, the man appears to maybe be in his 50s. Oh, but don't worry, guys. It gets worse. About 45 minutes later, they find another unsuspecting
I
man.
know,
and they
that's
do it
wild.
again.
I'd
And yeah,
rock
again,
the
I
mess
can't
out of
show
these
you,
kids.
but
I'm
you get it.
sorry.
Now, it's not clear which guy they did it to, but allegedly, Alfred threatens one of these two with a pew-pew, saying he'll blast him in the foot if he doesn't hand over his iPhone. Now, that part's not on video, so I can't confirm it. But what I can confirm is that Alfred actually had a pew-pew on him, because here he is flashing it to the camera. Now, people at the park, they see them doing all this, and they call the police. But by that time, Alfred and Kingston have the footage they want, and
Let me
they're
just
long
do
gone,
one of
and no one
these.
knows who they are or where to find them. Until these two decide to upload their prank to social media. And of
Oh
course,
yeah,
these
he's
videos
being
blow
leveled up.
but
I
not
can't
really.
use them, so I'll
Because
use these
people are
right behind
Punching
them.
someone isn't a prank. Someone needs to find these guys. What the hell's a pew? Now these two guys who got punched, they come forward.
Come on, come on. I mean, it would be. I think we're losing. thought we just had this. I'm not gonna lie.
They want to make a TikTok,
No, we got it. Fixed at least, so I'll take
with their
that.
two brain cells, they finally land on it's gonna be weird. So they head over to the nearby park and film it. And this is where they get down. It turns out their big idea is
I'll
to
take
run
it.
up to unsuspecting people in the park and sucker punch them. So this influencer, her name's Coco. So
Don't know
Coco
what that
grew up
is.
in Germany.
I'm
And she
not
was
doing
allegedly
that.
trafficked by her own mom. She saw her
Whoa.
own sister get unalived. And just a lot of
Whoa,
awful
that's a
things
lot
I won't
to
go
end
into.
the video
But
off
Coco
of.
wasn't gonna let this be her life. So one night, and she's only 15 years old at this point, she packs up her backpack and she makes a run for it. She escapes. And eventually she makes it to the US, Utah.
Okay.
And that's where her life really takes off. She becomes
thank
an
y'all for watching.
anti-trafficking activist. People are sharing her survival story, so she's kind